looking foolish. Try to get them funds up, killing the mic just like I ran the jewels. And y'all gonna get done up front, knowing that kid with an attitude. But you can't really blame this motherfucker for what he had to do. I'm about that cash dripping, I'm getting it on and off the market. Not about that VIP, not me, not never been a fan of carpets. All about that RIP for all of my Jesus gone departed. All about that finish what I started, I'm about that.
Top down the night, you're not ready. We ride, we ride, we will party. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night. Top down the night, you're not ready. We ride, we ride, we will party. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night.
Nothing about it. Want a man I can bring the drama, but it ain't by chance. I'm fucking rapping, you don't really want a problem. Made a little cash in the back end, but still rapping, they call me starving. Yeah, y'all ain't gonna ask who the man is. Hope I'm gonna be like, beg your pardon. I'm about that.
Top down the night, you're not ready. We ride, we ride, we will party. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night. Top down the night, you're not ready. We ride, we ride, we will party. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night.
And what's up, everybody? DJ Yokley with you here from our headquarters here in East Palestine. And right down the line with Michael McKenzie, then it's Billy McCartney. Tristan Reynolds is back with a fresh new fade, and it is the hippopotamus man himself. It is Richie Giuliano from the Florida room today, looking like the President of the United States in the Oval Office down there, man. Where are you dialing in from, homie?
To my grandpa's National library that he built. So where he gets his work done, I thought I'd do the same.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Guys, a lot of good feedback yesterday, and still we've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We talked about it just at a glance yesterday when the news broke about Pat Mahomes being, well, our dude got paid. So 10-year deal, potentially, and Billy, you can correct me on this, potentially $503 million that he will be paid. Guys, does this do anything good for the game? Does it do anything good for the future of football, or does this absolutely put an elbow on the neck of everybody trying to get paid? Now, we'll start with Tristan because I saw the thumbs down.
I just think it's bad. I mean, you're going to get dudes left and right saying, I want this, I want that. Like, case in point, Dak Prescott got paid, and my garbage can does more than he does. So, you know what I mean? You're going to want to you're going to see Pat Mahomes deserves money. This is a crazy amount of money. He deserves it, but you're going to see dudes like Dak that want to get that kind of money that don't deserve it.
Do you think that this affects, like, the entirety of, I mean, what does this do for the Chiefs? Does this pigeonhole them? Billy, you and I had a conversation earlier. Do you think this puts them in a predicament for years to come, the next 10 years?
Travis Kelce's the next one. He wants this.
He's out. Bye. He's going somewhere else to get paid.
You're right. You're right.
It's as simple as that.
He's going to want that money.
And he should get that money.
There's a lot of people on that team that should get paid. And I'm not saying that Patrick Mahomes should not, but there's a lot of people on that 53-man roster. There's 52 other guys that are going to want to get paid. So does this – I mean, I heard on ESPN yesterday, that it's a lock for the Chiefs for the next 10 years. You might as well just put it. I don't think it is. I think this hinders them.
I agree 100% because case in point, what Billy said, how are you going to pay Kelce now? Goodbye. You're going to get paid somewhere else.
I look at it like a money ball situation. Like you have to start playing money ball. Really, you have to go into like a baseball term where you're going to end up having to trade Kelce or Tyreek Hill, and not just getting their numbers, but taking 3 or 4 guys to make what they produce. You're going to have to do some money ball stuff down the line. You're going to have to trust your draft process, and they've proven that they have a pretty good draft process so far, at least the last few years.
So when you start taking those weapons away from Pat Mahomes, is he worth 10 years, $503 million?
He better be, because now it's all on him. If they don't win, he's the guy. You got to go right to the guy that's getting paid the most.
Oh boy, you're getting heat already, T. Take that ugly Bumblebee jersey off, please.
Run your 40 first, and we'll talk about it, Michael.
Oh, that's tough.
That is tough. Yeah. Michael, you've got an opinion on this. Talk about your feelings on the Patrick Mahomes deal.
I'm very mixed because you look at that defensive side, there's not a lot of talent. That's already an area where they needed to improve, and they have no money to pay that defense. They're going to have to pick and choose between Kelsey and Hill. But something they were able to do last year was bring in Sammy Watkins on a low contract and draft Mecole Hardman, and they were huge contributors in the wide receiving corps. Maybe they could keep lowballing some free agents that want to play in KC and win a chip, and bringing in those rookies like Mecole Hardman from second and third rounds on the offensive side, and then choose between Kelsey and Hill. You're probably going to have to take Hill because he's going to take the lower contract. But the issue is going to be on the defensive side because you need two sides to win a championship.
Aren't they known for their terrible defense, though? Like, aren't the Chiefs known for giving up 40 and having to score 43?
Booty.
Somebody's trying to call in.
I got a question for the guru, though.
Yeah.
Are they going to turn into the Patriots now? Mackenzie,
No.
are they going to turn into the Patriots where everyone goes there just to win?
I don't think
No.
so.
No.
Andy
don't
Reid ain't
think so.
Belichick.
Because
But
Dude,
is that
I'm gonna
where
tell you
they're
right now,
trying to
Brady-
go?
I
Is that what they're trying to do?
I think people are trying to, but there is no way that they're going to go there because Brady didn't take the highest contract in all of sports.
Bingo.
Dude wasn't taking big money contracts like Mahomes just did, which is why the Chiefs are not going to be like the New England Patriots.
Well, yeah, that's why I asked, because you were saying something about the dudes trying to get low ball contracts, and I jumped on board with that, but I feel
But
like
there-
everyone's going to try to do what the Patriots did, and it's not going to have any success.
What percentage of the cap does Mahomes have now of the Kansas City Chiefs?
Of the entire NFL, probably about 50.
No, of their team.
At this point, he could probably own the team.
You're not lying.
He's probably,
Well, we got
close
Anthony
up
Hartwig, guys, who is actually in Kansas City, living it right now, and he says, "Y'all, KC is." He's actually talking like a Kansas Cityite. Y'all, Kansas City is buzzing. Mahomes is here. He might be there to stay, but everybody else is going to be 1 foot out the door because they can't get their paycheck.
Yep.
And there's going to be guys that take that pay cut to win a chip, but it's not going to be as many as went to New England to take a pay cut because it's not going to be as big a pay cut as if you would go to a different team.
This is a good question for Michael Page as well. If you're a KC fan, would you be worried about the Pats' production dropping if and when Andy Reid retires? Andy's got his Super Bowl now. There's two different wolves out there, guys. The wolves that are hungry whenever their stomach is empty and the ones that can stay hungry when their stomach is full. Is Andy Reid a stomach? This is a bad question. Is Andy Reid a stomach full
Yes.
guy or is he a stomach empty guy?
I just seen him at McDonald's.
What?
Andy Reid, he's
That's
not going
a good
anywhere.
question, though, because who are you going to bring in after Andy Reid? Because obviously after Andy Reid, it's Mahomes' team. So who comes in after Andy Reid, and are they going to be able to share the reins?
I
I
say
don't think
Lincoln
Andy
Riley's
Reid's
a
going
candidate.
anywhere.
If Reid does leave in recent years, say in the next 5 years, Reid goes and leaves, Lincoln Riley's got to be a candidate because this dude has been able to do wonders with quarterbacks at Oklahoma as a young head coach. He's got a lot of years left to be a coach, a quarterback whisperer that can help out with Mahomes. I think he's definitely got to be at the top of the list.
What does Mahomes need help with?
Yeah.
I think
He's pretty
quarterback
active.
guy needs to stay there.
At this point, I
quarterback.
think they could hire any five of us, and the Chiefs would be okay, and they could save a
People
couple
need to get
bucks.
off. They need to get off the Lincoln Riley train. Get off of it. He's a college coach.
Okay.
Most college
I
coaches
don't think he's a college coach. I think he's a quarterback coach. If he was a
What does
college
that
coach,
mean?
that means he's only what is his defense has done at the college level. He only does good with quarterbacks.
Oh,
He left.
he bounced.
He bounced.
He's only done good with quarterbacks.
He got
That's
off
what I'm
the
talking
power
about.
hour train is what he did.
That's what I'm talking about.
Let's take a look at Anthony Hartwig again, saying no, he didn't take money up front because it's not a 3 or 60 like we always see in the NFL. Next 2 years, Mahomes will get paid. And let's get Billy back in here. Hang on. Next 2 years, Mahomes will get paid as much as Teddy Bridgewater. He's not taking the lump sum up front. It just moves things around for KC. They'll be able to sign Chris Jones now, who wants his money now.
That's
So
a typical KC fan trying to justify they just sold the team.
Yeah, what does that mean? He's still getting paid, what, the $500 million that you said or something?
well, that means when he's a
There's no
35,
justifying.
36-year-old quarterback, he's going to get paid more than ever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know any situation where that's a good situation for Kansas City because if he turns in, like, again, Mahomes is one of those quarterbacks we always talk about that one injury sets him back, sets your franchise back an entire year or more. So is it?
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
situation where if he's getting guaranteed money at the back end of his contract, you might be good the first 2 or 3 years, and then he's just going to rest on his laurels for the next 7.
He doesn't have to do anything after his next couple of years because that's where he's getting paid the most of his money. So he could get hurt and he could be like, yeah, I don't want to finish this season. I could just sit back on my $100 million that I'm getting in the bank every month.
And I
Or
wanna
it
say
turns
this,
into Giancarlo Stanton, right? Where it's all back and you just go, well, you're cut. See you later. Adios.
Now-
I got a question. I got
for
a
the
question.
Chiefs-
Wait,
Yeah.
it keeps popping in. What happens if Mahomes goes out and wins back-to-back Super Bowls, and then he's like, yeah, you know what? I kind of want to take it easy. He's like, I'm okay with being a backup. What happens then?
Wow.
Listen, for 500 mil, I'd hold a clipboard.
Like, that's
Now, there's this graphic that CBS Sports put up that raises a lot of questions for KC fans. These 4 players notable after signing 10 years deals. Michael Vick, 10 years, 130 million, only spent 4 years of that with the Falcons. Donovan McNabb, 12 years, 115 million, spent 8 years with the Eagles, but really didn't earn any bit of
Put a
that.
lifetime supply of Campbell's Chunky Soup.
Yeah.
True that.
Drew Bledsoe, 10 years, 103 million, only spent 1 year. Tom Brady replaced him. He got that big money contract. And then Brett Favre, 10 years, 105 million, 7 years. But
Right, that's why it's important that the guaranteed money is the most important part.
yeah,
and that's
I
what they
mean,
always talk about, right? That's the conversation that's been happening in the NFLPA. They want the guaranteed money. Now, I haven't looked over the contract. I probably never will, to be quite honest with you, because it's not my money, it's his money. So I don't care that much about it. But I think he will end up ruining what could have been. I mean, the NFLPA wants him to take as much money as possible because that's what the NFLPA wants. Like, they want their players to make as much money as possible as long as they can. And also, by the way, they get a piece of it.
Yeah.
That might be the way. I mean, that's the way baseball went, and all of a sudden you start looking at guys. It's very top heavy. You're never going to be able to get I really don't think you're going to be able to get a salary cap in baseball, which is much needed. So is football leaning that direction where maybe they start looking at, let's take the salary cap off of this thing and see where it goes?
I think that is really the only hope at this point for KC to be able to bring in guys, just having to pay a little bit of a luxury tax if you go over a certain amount of money. No salary cap that you have to pay guys, and you only have this much money to spend.
I hate it.
Where, in baseball you got that luxury tax, which allows teams like the Dodgers to pay all the guys that they're able to.
I absolutely hate it, and I hate it for so many reasons. Like, I'm all for making as much money as you can, but if a salary cap, I mean, it comes down to championships versus getting yourself paid, right? It's one of the late in your career, Tom Brady, he's going to get paid, right? He's got his championships. To be honest with you, I don't even think people would care if he won another championship at this point because they don't even count. They're just they're like invisible. You know what I mean? He is he is the GOAT, he is the guy. At this point, Mahomes, I think, took the wrong route. And I'll say it publicly, I think he took the wrong route. I think his legacy could be every bit as great as there's the pup making his debut. Who is that, Tristan?
This is my Bubba boy.
Bubba boy.
His name's Bubba because he's kind of stupid, but he's a good dog.
That makes sense. Anyway, I mean, do you think that this will affect his legacy in the long? How many championships do you think Pat Mahomes wins, as opposed to what he could have won with better people around him?
He wins
Better
3.
do it now. Better do it the next 2 years.
He wins 3.
He wins 3.
I think he wins 3, and that's it. But I still think Big Ben probably wins 4, but I think he wins 3.
Ben's got 2 more in him.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, damn.
I would love that.
Tristan is speaking the truth right now.
I would love that.
Absolutely.
That
My
is
goodness.
Crazy.
Especially for some of the people on this particular talk show. I would
Crazy.
love that.
Oh, damn.
Love that. I think Billy might just never come back on here if Roethlisberger won 2 more championships. Browns fans wouldn't know what to do with themselves if
not
the
gonna
Steelers
happen.
won 2 more.
They would say, you know what? Give Baltimore 2 teams.
Yeah.
We're done.
With all that
We're out.
offensive firepower they got over there, we're real.
We're pretty worried over here.
Oh, okay.
Firepower did really well.
Now,
Tell you.
you're bringing up the Ravens. That's an interesting thing. What about when Lamar Jackson comes up to get his payday?
He's
What's
not
gonna happen
Mahomes.
there?
Not even remotely close. He can't throw the ball.
Lamar Jackson.
He's
What?
going to ask for it. Oh,
All right, Ron.
as a Steelers fan, he
He threw
can
it
throw
better
the
than
ball.
Baker Mayfield, did he not?
Oh, yeah, he did.
Boom Russell.
Who's that?
Oh, yeah.
Who are you comparing it to? Baker?
Yeah, Brown.
Yeah.
Serious.
I mean,
let's
is he not
let's
supposed to be
compare him to the
savior?
last 20 years of the Browns
You
franchise.
You just brought up Mahomes and then you went right to Lamar Jackson. Then you bring up Baker, so Baker's in that category. Is that what you're trying to say?
Somebody brought up the Ravens, and you got to talk about when that payday
talk about throwing.
comes up.
You're saying Lamar Jackson's a $500 million man.
No, he's gonna
Okay,
ask.
then.
He's gonna ask for something somewhat close.
No, he doesn't deserve any of that.
Baker.
How about
Gotta
one
win.
playoff game?
I'm with
If you
that.
if you think it's a coincidence that he's asking for this right after he won a title, you're out of your mind. Like
Right.
this is the best time to ask for a payday. Is that
Oh, yeah.
after you make your biggest sale, right? If you're a salesperson, you want a pay raise. When do you go do it?
Right
Yeah,
after
if
your
you're
big sale.
if you're looking for a new contract, you don't in baseball. You don't do it after a game. You go 0 for 4. Like
Yeah.
if
That's
you're
why I say
looking for
contract year.
driving in the winning run or the year before your contract year, because then that team owner feels like he's getting something extra out of it, right? A little piece of it goes a long way. So like Lamar Jackson's not that guy. Lamar Jackson's not a $500 million guy. I don't even think he's a $400 million guy, to be honest
He
with
needs
you.
too many
He'll be
pieces
the
around
face
him.
of the Ravens for about 3 or 4 more years.
I agree with
I
that.
think. And then who's probably done. But I do give the credit to the Chiefs because they brought Pat Mahomes in. They had Alex Smith, who had finally figured it out in the league, right? He lost his job to Cap, whatever. Alex Smith did a great job in Kansas City. But they said, hey, man, you're winning games. That's fine and dandy, but we drafted this dude. Like, let him go play. And he came out and played, and he balled out. So Kansas City, I mean, I give them their props there. Because you had Alex Smith, who I don't think is bad at all. I mean, now.
And I think a possible driving force in that is back-to-back home losses in the playoffs. They did in the divisional round against the Steelers in 16 and then to the Titans in 17. You bring in Mahomes, a guy who you want to win a chip, as opposed to Smith, who's just getting you to the playoffs and losing at home.
We're starting to get the Steelers. The people dial in on the Steelers. Oh, a 0% chance for. Oh, look at that handsome guy on the other side of Kate Kelly. Who is that?
Good-looking dude.
It is a
Really
good-looking dude.
good-looking dude.
Too long of a contract for Mahomes. This is coming from Travis McCartney. He reset the market for franchise quarterbacks. Now other quarterbacks will want comparable money. What if he wins 3 more Super Bowls and someone like Lamar gets the same money? Does Mahomes go for more? And I think that's kind of going into our conversation. Now, I don't know. Like, I think the quarterbacks will go for it, but I think they're going to fall short. Don't you feel the same way? I mean, you could feel opposite, but I think that there's only one Pat Mahomes. There's just one.
True.
I
Can you
agree
see
with
if
you,
like
but
if
I think
Lamar
Dak
got
set the
the
bar, like, Dak
if
is
Lamar
trash
got
and
the
paid.
contract? Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Dak's trash and got paid.
Yeah.
He is.
So
Well, he
I
signed
think
this,
other
the franchise
quarterbacks
tender,
are gonna
but
come
yeah,
out and say that.
31.4 million. Yeah.
If
I
Lamar wins a Super Bowl next year, what's the argument against him not getting a large Mahomes-like contract? I just don't think that he's got all the
His
tools.
top 5 defense
Well, that's a great
that
point.
is at
Michael.
his side. All the weapons he has. Well, Mahomes did it with a barely top 15 defense, barely
Yeah,
top
the
20.
The Chiefs let up points like they were handing out coupons at
It was
Chuck E.
a Madden
Cheese.
team. It was literally a Madden team.
It was Oprah Winfrey. You get a touchdown. You get a touchdown. You get a touchdown. I mean, it really. I mean, that's a great point, Michael. The defense is all the difference. Like Mahomes is out there throwing up 50 points a game, and Jackson's what, mid-20s, 30 sometimes. You know what I mean? He's got the defense to back him up. I don't think that I don't think Pat Mahomes is in the same category as anybody. And if I hear somebody say Aaron Rodgers, I'm gonna throw up because I'm tired of hearing about Aaron Rodgers.
And Ravens
He's
Chiefs
in that-
last
he's
year,
close.
Chiefs won that game.
Did you say he's close?
He's very close. Aaron Rodgers is good, man.
Good at what?
Dude, fuck.
Commercials?
No, dude is a baller.
No, he's made his living off Hail Marys, and anybody that does that is
Oh
trash.
my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Cordell Stewart.
Dude,
That's all I gotta say, and I'm a Steelers fan.
Cordell Stewart did that shit in Colorado.
So, Yeah, that's still the greatest. Like, if you look up Cordell Stewart highlight, what's the first thing that pops up? Let me know what happens when you look up Aaron Rodgers. It'll be all his Hail Marys. That is the
I'll look
claim
up
to
Cordell
fame.
Stewart, and every highlight that comes from Cordell is probably like Colorado, then him as a receiver. Nothing of him being a quarterback.
Slash. No, he was a running quarterback.
Yeah, but he was a receiver hers in the league.
No, I agree
He was
with you.
slot.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. And they wanted to do the same thing with Hines Ward, but that's neither here nor there. Can we agree that there's nobody now? Pat, I think we all agree that Pat Mahomes got paid and probably a little bit too much. But can we all agree that there's nobody that's in his class right now that deserves another contract like that?
No.
I don't think there's anyone. Yeah, you're right. I can get on board with that.
All right, now we go to something that's a little bit near and dear to all our hearts, especially the chubby kids on the screen. The Canfield Fair has been canceled this year, guys. According to
Cheese
our
on a stick is no coming to us, man.
Yeah,
What?
we are, according to our friends over at WFMJ, the Canfield Fair has been canceled. The majority of it, I think they're still going to have the juniors being able to do stuff there. I mean, does this hurt anybody else's heart except for mine? Like, the Canfield Fair is like, Richie, you're a Canfield kid. I mean, this is like the bummer of the summer, right? This is how you really get your year in school started back up. I mean, high school, college, you name it. Our football season now. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but give me your greatest memory. Michael, I don't know if have you been to the Canfield Fair?
I went there on a field trip last year. Yeah.
Okay, so what is everybody's greatest memory of the Canfield Fair? Richie, since you're the Canfield kid, you're the hometown kid, go first.
I gotta say the zipper. I mean, if you remember the old ride that is in like the steel cage and it flips up and down multiple times. The zipper was the best thing at the Canfield Fair during my middle school ages, and just the memories I have of my friends going on that, and actually some lady puked on us from above us, so that was unforgettable. That's
Oh my god!
yeah.
What did you do? Like,
I mean, we just like the ride stopped, obviously, because the people saw it, and we were just like it didn't get like honest. It just like got on top of like the cage. So they had everybody off, and they had to disinfect the cage and stuff. So yeah, it was nasty, but it was a fun story to tell afterwards.
I'm ready to yak right now just thinking about, like, do you think that'd be like one of those slow-mo situations where you're looking up and all of a sudden it just starts pouring down chunks?
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't see it,
Like
obviously.
you're like, oh my
Once we
gosh.
got out, we're like, oh, goodness, like that happened right above us.
Who the hell eats potato salad before going to a carnival?
I mean, if you ever been on that ride, it could get pretty sickening. Like the amount of times you flip and it's always moving up and down in different ways, and it's a lot of fun. That's where like the hangout spot used to be for like the high school and middle school kids, but now it's kind of gone. So that's kind of sad. But
Billy, what's your all-time memory at the Canfield Fair?
You got to remember, I'm a Trumbull County guy, so like the Canfield Fair is super new to me within like the last 5 or 6 years. So I've only been there like 5 or 6 years. The best part about it for me though is just running around, fair food, kind of enjoying the scenery and hanging out.
I was gonna say, don't give out your fair food. That's the next round. Tristan, what's your favorite part of the Canfield Fair? Favorite memory?
Well, I guess I gotta save it for the next round because I ordered something that was wrong and then ended up being my best memory there. And that's what every time there's fair food,
You're the food
that's what
guy.
I get.
Michael, you went
I'll
there on a
save it.
field trip. What's your favorite memory?
Yeah, probably the fair food. I'm gonna have to go with the other two.
Mine is the fact that there's the rooster right there in the middle, and anytime somebody gets lost, you go to the rooster. You always meet at the rooster, right? Well, my sister got lost, separated when we were little kids, and she thought it was a chicken, and she didn't know the difference between a rooster and a chicken. So she would be looking around for this rooster, and she went and she probably walked the fair like 6 times looking for the rooster. And she was around the rooster the entire time. She just thought it was a chicken. So that was my favorite. Not that she got lost. The fact that we found her was fantastic. I hated her at the time. Love her now. So, the chubby DJ was probably like, yeah, good. We'll just find another one. Find another sister. We can trade this one in. But that I love that it's all local. People come to the Canfield Fair from all over the country. And obviously, with Corona being the situation that it is, I think we all kind of knew it was coming. But it's still a bummer of the summer whenever that's not happening. All right, favorite food at the Canfield Fair that you will not be partaking in because it is canceled this year. Tristan, go.
Cheese on a stick. I ordered a corn dog way back in the day, and they gave me cheese on a stick. And from there, I fell in love with it. So that's my favorite memory / my favorite food, fair food wise.
The best.
Is,
Billy?
I love cheese on a steak.
All right, so I'm pulling the fat kid card here. There's two of them. The Monar's,
Cinnamon roll.
right, cinnamon roll, and there was this milkshake place that I just couldn't stop going to the whole time there. They
I
had
forgot about that. Yeah.
that milkshake stand was off the chart. It was crazy good.
Richie, you're the GOAT when it comes to Canfield Fair. What is it?
Yeah, I got two as well. I got the cinnamon rolls in Virginia. They actually do have a stand right near Mahoning Avenue and Turner, I believe. It's right on the corner there. So you can still get
Right.
in the off season. And Wahoo's Gyros. It's like a local stand. It's been there since the very beginning, so I've gotten that every time I've been to the Canfield Fair. So that hurts that I won't be able to get a good gyro.
He's in the same spot every year too.
Yeah, same spot every year.
Oh yeah. By the big
Michael, what do
pumpkin.
you got? What's your go-to?
I'm gonna have to go with the milkshakes, man. I'm gonna go with the
Milkshakes?
milkshakes too.
You're on the
Milkshakes at a
bus,
fair.
Michael.
I've never had a milkshake at a fair.
I haven't
You're missing out.
never had a milkshake.
You haven't had
You're
a
missing
milkshake, period?
No, I'm like,
Oh.
but not at the fair.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, like, if you've never had a milkshake, we got problems, man. Mine is I got a two-part. Now, corn dog are my favorite anything. Like corn dogs above everything else, 100% always. Better than hot dogs. It's the best of both worlds. It's hot dog and it's corn, cornbread or whatever. So I'm all in on corn dogs. The other thing that I can't live without when I go to a fair is the fair fries. The fair fries loaded up with salt and vinegar. Oh man, those are so good. I think it's Richardson that I always go to. So I'll miss the fair fries this year. I didn't get to go to a single fair this year because of Corona. Thanks a whole lot, COVID.
Yeah, it stinks.
It's terrible, and it's not like we can like replace it at the ballpark either. You know, you have the concession stand, but most places are like limited. You know what I mean? So like you can't have it replaced either. Your best chance is going to get a box of corn dogs from a box store or whatever, and heating those suckers up in the oven. But
Yeah, like-
even then, it's not the same.
Even Scene has that limited menu now at the ballpark, but it's still good. I mean,
It's still great, yeah.
they still have the hamburgers, hot dogs, the chicken wraps, and whatever else you want, but it is a limited menu.
We are going to take a quick break. We'll be back, and we're going to talk about high school football. Some changes taking place in Columbus last night. We're going to talk about that a little bit. We're also going to talk about high school football being played in the spring. Do we like that? Do we love it? Do we hate it? Find out right after this on the YSN Power Hour.
21
Good evening,
News.
and thank you for joining us.
Let's get right to our top
More
story
experienced reporters
A new Wilmington
At
restaurant.
GM Lordstown,
telling more local stories
We'll look at
baby
efforts
boy
to
is
curb
recovering from a broken.
around our
Good
valley
Community in
afternoon.
Niles,
We are here in Youngstown, right up.
because you expect
Important for everyone. No place like home.
more local news.
In Mercer County
before
Court.
they become life-threatening.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the YSN Power Hour. DJ Yoakley, along with some of my good friends, Mike McKenzie, Richie Giuliano, as well as Billy McCartney and Tristan Reynolds down in the bottom right-hand corner. Guys, football is all the hot topics right now, and the question remains, high school football here in the Valley, does it happen? Now, first I'm going to ask for your immediate response, yes, no, maybe, and then I'm going to ask why, okay? We'll start with Michael. Michael, your dad's a coach and an athletic director. Do you feel like football is going to happen, yes, no, or why?
I do feel like it's going to happen. I do feel like it's going to happen in the fall. I mean, there haven't been any setbacks, anything. All the workouts that are going on, at least here at Beaver Local, they've been full on. Everything's progressing very well. There's 100% expectation from everybody that I've talked to. I've got a couple friends that actually play on the Beaver local football team. Everybody thinks that football season is going to happen in the fall. So I believe it will happen.
All right. Richie, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll take a yes on that as well. I think at the end of the day, it always comes down to the money situation, and that's the big growth income for most high school athletic organizations. So I think you're going to have to get that in.
Billy, what's your thoughts?
I think you said yes.
You just said yes.
Yeah.
I can't. We had the thing again. Can't hear you. I don't know. Did you put your AirPods in or something like that? And now it's all changed up? Anyway, we'll figure that part out later.
His
Billy will
AirPods
play
been in the
around
whole
with
game.
it. Tris, what are you thinking?
I'm half and half just because selfishly I want baseball to be played in the fall, high school wise. But if they flip it, I think they want to though. I think everyone around here wants everything to stay the same, so I think they're pushing for it. They're trying to find a way to play it. So I'm torn.
So my question becomes, from that point, why do you want baseball to be played in the fall, and why do you want football to be played in the spring?
Let's rain on.
Baseball in the fall because I'm bored. I got nothing going on. Besides this, I'm bored.
You talking about like
I run,
personally?
2
You know what I
miles a
mean?
day,
Like,
and that's it.
okay, I'll accept that. Richie, you said less rainouts. Talk to me about that. I've yet to understand this because I feel like every time that I announce football in the fall, I'm battling more rain than I do in the springtime.
Well, you know, how the baseball schedule set up at the high school level, it seemed like every week we are at least canceling one game because most high school fields aren't kept, I'd say, very well. They're kept maybe once or twice a week, and they cut the grass before the game, and that's about it. These fields aren't meant to hold a lot of water, and even a drizzle of rain will end up canceling and swamping the field. And that's why you see a lot of the games around this area being pushed to Scene because they're so well kept. And that's why a lot of the games are played at Scene, especially on 1 and 2, and not at home fields.
See, I'm interested because I would feel like coming out of the winters that we have around here that it's probably maybe worse conditions for natural football fields to be trampled on, and then as the weather gets better, you know, the field's already trashed, you know, so many schools are going to turf, so I think that could be a bonus. But I feel like, you know, baseball is where it's supposed to be, because I think you have to have that professional, then you have college, obviously, then you have the amateur, which is high school and the summer leagues. If professional doesn't change, then it throws everything out of whack, because then you've got people all over the place. Football is in the same boat, because I feel if you move football to the spring, if it doesn't happen in the fall, we have big trouble. We have a lot of trouble, especially at the OHSAA level, because we've had some of their administration on, and they've said that this is not good. Like, there's a lot of money that will be missed if we don't have football this fall. And I think personally we're a little bit too late in the game to change it from a fall to a spring sport, because what are you going to do? You're going to move baseball to fall and then essentially do what? Cancel baseball season, because if you're not allowed to touch, if you're not allowed to have contact, again, none of this makes sense to me, because if you're not allowed to have contact, then you shouldn't be able to play baseball, because baseball, even though it is a technically non-contact sport, there's still contact there.
But do you think that pushing football to the spring is going to make up the gate money that they're going to lose if there's no fans?
No.
You think that's why they're looking at it, though?
I don't think. I really don't, because I think that you're going to put your spring sports out of business quickly.
I can afford that.
Because you're going to make people make a choice, especially because it's been talked about to have them at the same time. Baseball and football and softball and volleyball. I guess volleyball is now cleared as a non-contact sport, is what I read last night. So they're allowed to play in the fall. They're allowed scrimmages, and they should be allowed to play other teams. But if you put baseball against football, I'm a baseball guy, and I know that football is going to win. You know,
Yes.
the kids are going to go play
The Boys of
football.
Fall. There's a song about it. It's called The Boys of Fall.
Yeah.
And I've said it, I just said it because I'm bored. I'd like to see it flip just because I want something to do. But that was my beef, the G. Burbick Farm, what's your beef? And it was don't alter the game. And if you're going to alter the game, the ultimate alter is switching seasons, right?
Yep. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's one of the ultimate alters, right? Yeah, the other alter is just canceling it altogether. And I think the baseball and the softball crowd have been through enough. They've been through quite enough.
Too much.
Yeah. They got axed in the spring, and now, what I think will happen ultimately if they do move football to the spring is they'll move baseball and softball to the fall, and I think they'll get axed again. And I don't think it's fair that they have to lose 2 seasons just so we can protect football and so administrate. And I get it. Trust me, I get it from a business standpoint. I think that you need to make money, but I think there's different streams of revenue that you can build in to help support your programs that they're not looking at right now because it's more work for them. Just quite blatant and quite blunt and honest. Football is easy because you sell a ticket, you take a ticket, and they go sit down. What I'm hearing is 50%, if football happens, 50% of people are going to be allowed in. So that basically says it's your parent of a football player, of a band
Like 6
parent.
tickets per kid.
Yeah, so you look at that and you go, okay, it's going to be different, but I mean, other schools, we've talked about it from a YSN purpose, other schools are looking to stream revenue through streaming, through us, to make money, to make up some of that profit that they're going to be losing with dialing it down to 50% of capacity. Some schools won't be affected, really. I mean, you look at it, it's based on your facility, and they don't sell out. You know what I mean? So some schools will be okay, but other schools that, you go there, like a South Range on a Friday night, the entire place shows up. I mean, it's jam-packed. Nobody's at home. So it's going to be interesting to see how things kind of happen, but I am not an advocate for pushing football to the spring, especially if it's at the cost of baseball and softball. I think football is meant to be played in the fall. I think football and if volleyball can play, and listen, this is not a knock on volleyball, but if volleyball can play, then football can play. I really do believe that.
So it all comes down to this, DJ. What do I always say about being an umpire?
50-50, man.
No matter what decision is made here, I feel like someone's going to be in the wrong, someone's going to like it, someone's not. I just feel like they got to rip the Band-Aid off and just make the choice.
And that's kind of leads us into this question from Mark Roth. Do you think Jerry Snodgrass was replaced due to his growing concern of football not being able to be played in the fall due to the increase of COVID-19 cases? I know for a fact from the people that I've discussed with that he didn't go willingly. This is not something that he stepped down. He put a lot of work, and there's a lot of people that really love him and support him. And I'll be honest, I'm one of them. I think he did a great job with the OHSAA. He made people think about things. He did things, and it was never just because this is the way we've always done it. And I think that there was some questions about he wanted to err on the side of safety. And I don't know this for fact, but I'm just guessing that he wanted to err on the side of caution, and he probably wanted to either push back the football season or take a stance that we postpone it indefinitely, the same way that we did with basketball. And I think that a lot of the schools stood up and said, this is 50 to 70 to 90% of our revenue stream. We can't do this. So without knowing too much of the situation, I know that it wasn't one that there was a big spotlight shined on it. It was a press release by the OHSAA, and they just kind of glazed over what happened. They glazed over the replacement. So it's very interesting, and I think there's going to be a lot of stories, a lot of rumors that are going to be floating around the OHSAA for a long time. But we said it earlier, and we've heard it on Ron's show when he interviewed Tim Street. The OHSAA is in a very delicate situation because they need this fall in football to make revenue, to make money, because they've already lost out on their state championships for baseball and softball and track and field. They've lost out on their basketball state championships. They need football, which is their main contributor as well. So I think Mark's probably spot on.
Here's my question. How do you ask them to do that when you're 100% right? They need all that. But how do you ask them to make a decision when the NFL, when the MLB, and all those other pro sports can't decide what the heck they're going to do? So why does it all fall on OSHA to make a decision when those guys can't even figure it out?
I'm with you. And the OHSAA is on a string budget, right? It is very small in comparison to the NFL, to Major League Baseball, to the NCAA, and they can't tell what they're doing. So to hold OHSAA accountable and say what's going on is a little bit different than, to me, it's a little bit awkward, because what are they supposed to say? What is Tim Street and what is OHSAA supposed to say to the high school coaches that they don't know any better than anybody else? You know, they've if you go back and you look at when this thing started, the OHSAA did what was right, and they followed the governor at every turn. They kind of said, we're going to listen to the governor's advice, and we are going to, obey all the rules and regulations and suggestions that they set forth. And they did. And I think it worked well. And that's why Ohio flattened the curve. Now you're in a situation, same as when COVID started and all these businesses were shutting down. Everybody was excited for 2 weeks, right? The 2-week vacation that everybody got from COVID. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, this isn't a vacation. This is legit. This is real. I need to go back to work because I need to support my family. Now everybody's in that situation where we need sports back. Like, my kid can't miss this senior season. Like, it's okay to miss it in baseball and softball, you know what I mean? Because it's not your kid, or it's just baseball or just softball. When really there's families that livelihood depended on it, because there might be a late add to a roster at the NCAA level, or you're trying to get recruited and they're not able to get recruited because they're not playing. Now it's a reality because football is such a just monster, right? And now it's going to affect people's situations from financial and kids getting recruited and things of that nature. So now it's really interesting, and it's not a funny situation, but it's just really intriguing to me that now it's starting to register in people's minds.
Yeah, that's why it's so hard to make a decision right now. It really is. No one wants to make the wrong decision. You know what I mean? I don't feel like anyone wants to make the wrong decision. No one wants to be that guy.
Do they have to make a decision right now?
But everyone wants one.
Yeah, I agree.
You know
There's no decision at this point is a good decision.
Yeah.
Just let things keep on keeping on, right? Like, they're allowed to have their inter squad scrimmages. You're allowed to have. I mean, Michael knows this better than most because his dad's the coach and the athletic director. Being able to just be a team is better than shutting everything down again and us having to quarantine. Like, if I have to quarantine anymore, I'm gonna throw up. Like,
I'm out.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump on the zipper and be that person and throw chunks.
I'm up to Richie.
Michael, what's your dad saying about it? Well, internally and really, when you look at it, what have you heard and what are your feelings on the whole situation?
My feelings, these kids, they're finally back into rhythm. I think pretty much the entire month of June, basically, and maybe the first few days in July, even though that just came up, they've been having Zoom calls when they couldn't be in the weight room, and they've been trying to stay in contact because, June was the month where football season, the off season and workouts really start to rev up a little bit. You start to get into the swing of things, getting ready for football, and they couldn't be in that for the majority of June. And then that last week, you're allowed to get out there. Now you're allowed to have inter-squad scrimmages. So things are progressing at the gradual level that they need to. And the feel is that this is being handled the right way by the OHSAA. Don't make a statement right now. Keep doing these gradual progressions. And those schools like Bel Air that shut down, they had a few cases and they can't do anything. But the thing that you have to watch out for is those kids that are that's still going on their vacations in North Carolina and Myrtle Beach in South Carolina that are not forced to quarantine for 14 days. They can come straight in from South Carolina and Myrtle Beach right into practices. That is, I think, going to be the kryptonite of football season if it doesn't happen. I think that's going to be a main factor you can point to. But the gradual progression and only a few schools here and there having to shut down because of COVID cases, I think it bodes well, to say the least.
Richie, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think overall, from hearing everybody's decision on this, I think the best thing and the best case scenarios for the OHSAA to let these teams work out right now in the off season. Once it comes about a month, 2 months in, that's when you finally have to make a decision and say, hey, no, we're going to play this, but we're going to push it back. So even if they don't play the season, I think that you have to give the teams and everyone else at least 2 months notice, because that's only fair to the players, that's fair to the coaches, and it's also fair to the parents.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because we're sitting here less than 8 weeks away from week 1 of high school football, and we're still kind of waiting for that other shoe to drop one way or the other. So when you look at it, Billy, would you rather prepare for the season and then have it been the rug pulled out from under you right before, or would you rather know going into it that you're probably not going to play, maybe keep your kids away and quarantined, or at least shut down the practices now, and then have somebody spring it on you and say all of a sudden, hey, we're ready to go?
I think as a coach and a player, it's real simple. You prepare as you're going to play. Everything's on schedule, and then you kind of fall where the chips lie. But I have a different scenario, because I'm hearing a lot of, like, school. Let's just talk about school in general. I've heard scenarios where freshmen, sophomores go Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday. You're the split day where you're going 2 and 2, right?
Yep.
Now, a lot of schools, all right, they're going to have a hard time having practice after school, right? So we're talking about parents are working. They don't get out of work till 5. So you're going to have freshmen, sophomores how are they going to get to practice after school, right? How do you justify, like in normal cases, if you don't have school, you don't have practice, right? So if the Ohio Athletic Association has to change maybe some bylaws, I don't know the rules exactly, but there's some cases where, like, you get a snow day, right? You're not allowed to have any activities at school. How can you justify not having school for X people and then allowing them to have practice, right? And then on top of that, the issues of getting to practice. If you're a freshman or sophomore, you can't drive. How are these parents supposed to get their kids to football practice after school, or volleyball, or soccer, or any of those other practices?
I think what they're doing, I think what they're going to end up doing is, if I understand it correctly, is they'll still be in school. They'll either be 2 days present, like physically, and 2 days digital, or 2 and 3. You know what I mean? Like, they can still go to school digitally and do that, and it'll still count for being able to.
Right.
But
I'm talking the physical part of being at the facility in
and
general.
that's where I'm confused, because if little Johnny goes to school on Monday and Thursday, but a football game's on Friday, what's the difference with him showing up in school and him showing up on the football field to have ultimate contact? Like, I think that, and it was explained to me best by someone I know really well, and I'm obviously not going to say his name because I don't know if he wants this out there or not, but there's 3 different things that OHSAA and the state really are trying to combine, and none of them will jive. It's a puzzle that none of the pieces fit with each other. So they're trying to do the song and dance and cater to everybody, when in reality they're going to have to let one or two of these drop and put one, show favoritism, so to speak, over one. It's going to be something that we've never seen before. It's going to be something that we are not prepared for, and then it's going to be adjustment by everybody. And I'm talking everybody from parents to administrators to teachers to coaches to the media, that we're going to all have to be dealt a different hand than what we're used to on a regular basis. And we're all going to have to work together to essentially make sure that it's good. Like, it's the right thing, and work together to make sure it continues, or else we're just going to go back to, what we had in April, and it's to me, that's not good for anybody. I'm all for keeping safety and health, but reality is I would rather keep my mental health, and keep it going, and know that the freedoms that were fought for, and all of that stuff. And I'm sure there's people rolling their eyes at us right now, but you look at it and go, listen, I would rather roll the dice. And have a situation where we're playing, or I'm specifically playing and doing what I love to do on a regular basis, then take a chance that 99.996% that, we've got better chance of being struck by lightning in some scenarios. Yeah. So I know that is a serious situation, and I'm fully aware of that, but come on.
I think I have an answer to your question, Billy Mack, though. I think if schools do that, and you're asking these kids to still come, at 2:30 to come to class or whatever, I feel like the schools can justify that by paying these bus drivers to go pick up those kids who don't have license, right?
All right, hold on. Before you go there, all right. I was once upon a time a head coach at Bristol. Okay, we had all kinds of issues with busing. Not enough bus drivers, not enough people willing to do it. So now you're basically asking bus drivers. So you're already on a budget, and if you're a small school, so like the big schools, maybe not as big as an issue, but a small school, Bristol, maybe a South Range, maybe a Columbiana, some of those small schools where money is tight everywhere. How are you going to get a bus driver to take the kids home and then go get the football kids specifically on a crazy route that may not be the same bus driving route that you have to take to?
Can I add to that? Is that
Sure.
some of these teams now are saying, we're not traveling. If you want to play, you come to our house.
Again, so now you're changing all the schedule?
And that's the crazy thing is like, then you look at who gets the gate.
Right.
That's fine. We'll come to your place, but we get 100% of the gate, which will never happen naturally.
Right. There's just so many questions that nobody can answer all of them.
And the problem,
that's the real issue.
the problem about this is everybody's got an agenda, right? Everybody has their own agenda. Whether you know it or not, everybody who has an opinion has an agenda, and then the people in power have to make sure that it's the best for their school, their budget, they want to make sure their kids don't come home an entire bus full of
Right.
corona cases, because then what do you have? You have parents that are ready to throw up the sword, so to speak, and take you down like the Game of Thrones, which I've never seen, by the way, but I hear it can be quite brutal.
Billy Mack knows it. There's an ice devil in there, isn't it, Billy Mack?
Like,
The White Walker King. The king of White Walkers.
Yeah. The ice devil.
so here's another comment, guys. This is again from Mark Roth. I'm aware of all the repercussions of fall sports not being played, financial, etc., but it appears Jerry fell on the sword for potentially doing the appropriate thing. This coming from a parent of a high school baseball player that had to find the positive in the cancellation of spring sports. As a healthcare worker, I'm aware of the bigger picture. Hopefully football is played, but numbers are not looking promising. I can get behind that because I feel like there's a lot of tough talkers out there that want this to happen, but whenever you're dealing with your own kid, there's a lot of keyboard warriors that when push comes to shove, I think will be like, well, little Johnny maybe doesn't play football this year. You know what I mean? For the overall health of their kids.
It all comes down to this. Everyone wants to talk to get hit in the mouth, right? Everyone wants to say what they want to say to get hit in the mouth.
Right.
And then
I know I missed the last segment, but I really think that football should just be played in the spring this year.
we talked
just
about
don't-
that.
I missed it because my mic was all messed up.
I'm just bored. So if baseball's playing in the fall, I'm all for it.
It's too late to almost do the fall for baseball.
Can't do
Almost too late. You
Can't
have to
do
do
it.
it. You'd have to go right now.
As a pitching coach, I got a question for you though. As a pitching coach,
Mhm.
if you make it to state, you're pitching. You're pitching in the wintertime almost, right? If
Are you
it's
talking about?
switch?
You'd have to change the whole schedule. You'd have to start like a golf season. You'd be early in August.
Dude, you'd be
Sorry.
pitching December 5th.
No, you wouldn't be going to December 5th. It'd be a shorter season. And you play more games.
See, that's garbage. Again, you're affecting baseball, and that's not fair
Or
to me.
really do like a golf season. Like you would play. Well, I don't know when golf's played. I want to say maybe first week of August or maybe late July.
But you can golf every day. That's the difference. You can't play baseball.
No, I
every
just
day.
meant like the season. Like the school season would have to start at the end of July or early August.
See, and then you take away from.
And you'd go to October, second week October. Probably you have to do something.
But then
like
you
that.
take away from summer ball and travel ball, which ultimately we have seen that doesn't work because money talks.
I can't comment on that because I'm on both sides of that coin. And
Yeah, I
Matt
know.
Weimer would kill me if I said my true opinion.
Yeah, I'm sure he would. But I mean, you look at it, and you can't move the stuff. You just cannot. You can't because you're cheating. You're ultimately going to end up cheating somebody. And if you decide that you're going to move it both in the spring, then if you're a 17-year-old Billy, and you look
Yeah.
at this, all your friends are playing football, but a third of your friends are playing baseball. You're probably going to play football, and baseball goes away.
Well, if you switch the sports to the calendar, it'd have to be universal across the 48 states. Basically, every state would have to switch.
At every level.
at every level. Well, not every level. College could stay the same. It would be in my opinion, I don't know how many numbers, and it's just my opinion and feeling. It would be a lot easier to recruit for all the sports if they were actually switched.
So let me ask you this: if a football player is playing in the spring and then it goes to what is that usually, like June 20th or so for states, and it's 96 degrees like it is, these days, is that safe? Or are we talking about a different type of safety for a player that's in pads at 90 some degrees or 80 some degrees? Let's say, we'll have to lean on Storm Tracker 21 for days. Like that becomes a different form of safety.
Listen, I remember having 2 days, 105 degrees.
You have to give these water breaks, right? In football, if it hits here,
There's-
you have to give water breaks per minute.
There's mandated breaks every hour. At least when I was coaching football, there was mandated breaks during like special events, like 2 days, every hour, on the hour, 10 minutes, that kind of thing. I know that head coaches know. They know what rules and safety guidelines that they have to abide by, and there is some. There's plenty, I'm sure.
Mike, would you want to see spring football?
No, not at all.
Richie?
No, I would not. I think everything should be the same because, like Coach Max said, I mean, if you wanted to put baseball in the fall, you'd have to start like tomorrow.
Yep.
I mean, the preparation would have to start immediately. And what happens to the kids that are playing at Steam?
I didn't hear anything.
Yeah,
Well,
you'd have to
somebody
start.
just got a notification.
Every kid that doesn't play, it's not taking advantage of playing at Bob Sean Parker and seeing if you're not playing travel ball or youth baseball somewhere, you're so far behind right now.
Yeah.
You need time to like very much similar like the pro guys, and need a spring training to get their arms and body in shape. Don't forget, Ohio Athletic Association has put a lot of money into teaching arm care. So now you can't just rush in and say, here's fall baseball for high school sports. By the way, you're going to go out there and pitch tomorrow.
Oh, to hell with it. I'll just let them play ball. No, I'm with you 100%.
But heater, Ricky.
Yeah, give him the heater. throw 109 fastballs in a row. See how that goes for you. I just don't. I don't see there is no win-win situation. You know what I mean?
No, it's not. It's a terrible.
My last argument before it's done. Here's my last argument. And like I said, I'm bored. That's why I want to see it.
Right,
I'm
as
not
a fan.
100% for
Yeah.
it, but I'm not 100% against it. But you get a football. Kids live for football, right? They get huge. So by the time fall comes, they're pretty big. They're ready to go. What if you get a kid who plays baseball, who wrestles / plays basketball, and then come football time, and football time in the fall, he's usually 170. Then you go into spring, he's like 155. They're going to be littler, right? You think? For football coming in the spring?
There's a maintenance effect, I think. I get you. And I think that's a lot of the concern of, when you have the things the way they've always been done, and it goes back to the OHSAA. They were big into, well, this is the way we've always done it. I don't think at this point, with 7.5 weeks to go before whatever season it is, that it's fair that you flip the script and you say,
if it ain't broke, why fix it?
Hey, baseball,
Right.
you're up. Like why do we have to? Why does baseball and softball have to be the and track and field? I don't want to leave them out. Why do they have to be the sacrificial lamb of all of the COVID? You know what I mean? Just because they don't bring in revenue, I get it, but I understand that business side. But the reality is, if it's not safe to play one sport, it shouldn't be safe to play any. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, it's one of
you're
those situations, like, I don't feel like any sport is safe. Every sport is a contact sport. Maybe not cross country, but there is some jostling for position when it comes to it. Golf might be the only one. You know what I mean? You hit your own ball, you place your own ball. There's really no interaction that can't be from 6 feet away. So golf might
I
be
got knocked out on a football court.
we know. We know that story. I know that guy. But ultimately, guys, I think it all comes down to, at the end of the day, there is no win-win with sports this fall. There's going to be sacrifices that have to be made by everybody involved. And if you want to play football, you're going to have to make those sacrifices. I don't think that you can clamor to play football and then have to, mentally go in and think that you're not going to have to do something different, whether it's 50% capacity in the stands, whether you have to watch it via YSN or some other platform. there's going to be sacrifices that have to be made. And unfortunately for where we are as society, that's just where it is. You know what I mean? Like, I would err on the side of caution. Personally, I would love to see everything go back to the way it was. But I think, I say this with all due respect, I don't think we're ever going to get back to where we were. I think some things have changed for the long haul, and things are going to be sacrificed moving forward.
I'm so glad I don't have to make a decision on this. I do not wish. Like, I feel so bad
That's
for
my
those
closing
people,
statement. Don't put everything on
ADs
high
and
school sports. Pros,
Yeah.
you make your decision. Don't put everything on high school. Why are you putting it on us? It's
Well,
not
that's
us.
it. Like why are we all focused? I mean, we are focused on local because that's what we do. Why is everybody else not just looking at the NFL saying, hey, you just canceled the Hall of Fame game? And nobody seems to be mad about that, you know? And nobody seems
why are you
to
mad at us?
put 2 and 2. Like, we talked about the Canfield Fair getting canceled. Doesn't that put some red flags up for football, being that the Canfield Fair is literally week 1 of football? You know, there's some concern. If you're not thinking about that, you need to start thinking about that. You need to start thinking, putting the pieces together, like that puzzle we talked about. Guys, week 1 of football, maybe even week 2 of football is the Canfield Fair for some. So you look at that and you go, oh, man, this doesn't bode well. This does not bode well at all. But that's beyond our control. We're just here to talk about it.
do they go empty stadiums and have YSN broadcast the games live finally? And OSHA gets off of that. You can't broadcast games live.
As a fan, I tell everybody this. As a fan, I would hate it. As a business owner,
Let's go.
let's go. Let's go.
Bring us in. Let's go.
That is going to do it for our show today. Tune in tomorrow, 3 to 4, right here, the YSN Power. I want to thank our guests, Mike McKenzie, Richie Giuliano, Max Baseball Academy, Billy Mack, and, of course, the legendary T.R. Reynolds, TCAR99 on Twitter. Guys, thank you so much for your input today. We appreciate you. Appreciate our sponsors at the bottom of the screen. We appreciate you watching. That's going to do it for the 7-7 edition of the YSN Power Hour. See you later.